On Redbubble, Teepublic, and other print-on-demand sites, there are literally thousands of items for sale. Redbubble, for example, is a hugely popular website that caters to people all over the world. So now how do you find items that will actually sell? So as we can see here, when I look up classic t-shirts, there are over 9,400 results. You can actually search through Redbubble and look up each individual category. So it can be helpful to see which niches are more competitive than others. For example, bath mats is a relatively new category at the time of this video, and there's only 738 results in bath mats. So this really underscores the importance of activating your designs on as many products as possible, because you just never know who's going to buy what. Okay, so how do you find the designs that are actually selling? So here's a trap that many of us designers fall into. We love to create designs, and it can be a little boring to do research. And it can also be demoralizing to do research because it can feel like everyone and their dog is out there selling merchandise while we're creating these amazing designs that no one actually wants. So I do encourage you to dedicate time, chunks of time, to actually researching popular niches. Yes, creating designs is important, but invest your time in pursuing the avenues through research that have a high probability of paying off. All right, so let's start with tip number 1, which actually is not on Redbubble or Teepublic. It's Etsy. Etsy is one of the world's largest platforms for shirts and apparel and other printed products. So here I am on Etsy.com, and I typed into the search bar, funny retro t-shirt. Now you can type any search term, and chances are good that something will come up. Okay, so one tip for Etsy. The first search results will typically be sponsored results, and you'll notice these because they have a little ad next to the listing. So they're a bit sneaky, and Etsy will have lines of ads throughout your search results. However, rather than just ignoring them, actually check out these sponsored results. Chances are that if you find a large company on Etsy that sells a lot of t-shirts, you can find out what actually sells. So here I'm going to click on the first result that's sponsored, and it's a mosquito t-shirt. So here's the listing with the shirt. If you see the term bestseller next to the shirt, it might be a shirt that sells well. I repeat, might. There's no guarantee, but it's one option. It's one tool. It's like we're being detectives and we're looking for clues. Sometimes Etsy will reward bigger clients by indicating the quote-unquote bestseller status when it's a marginal bestseller, but sometimes they're actual repeat selling shirts. So this is all rumor, by the way, because no one can see what magic buttons Etsy's pushing behind the scenes. But there are Etsy forums, and I've read through them. I've contributed to some, and some sellers have reported that their bestseller items are sometimes actual bestseller items, but not always. Okay, so this store is a pretty big store. We can see from the feedback rating reviews that there's a lot of reviews, which means there's a lot of sales. So here's another Etsy tip. I'm going to click on the name of the store. So forget about any one product for a second. Let's just go into the store itself. So if you pick a big store like I just did, and you go into the store and you scroll down the page to the bottom, you'll see reviews on items that people bought. So people will leave the reviews on items that they actually purchased. So here's real evidence that someone somewhere in the world actually bought these 2 shirts, for example. Now, if you do this enough times, you can identify trends on things that people are actually buying. Here's another tip where we can use Etsy to find out shirts that are selling in general. If you scroll through the store and you look at the individual items, you'll occasionally see an X number of people have this in their basket, red font. This is an indicator that this is a popular item. Now, I've sold on Etsy in the past, and if you can get 20 or more people putting in the item in the basket, I can say from experience that that item is actually selling. At least it was in my experience. So here's another example. Over the Rainbow and Beach and Back each have 4 people who have put this in their cart. Again, it doesn't mean a guarantee that they will buy it, but it's evidence that people are at least interested in the shirt. So here's an example of the golden ticket. You want to find an item like a t-shirt where it says over 20 people have this item in their cart. This means that there could be 21 people, 35 people, or even 500 people. We don't know the number, but it's by definition a popular item. So again, you want to look for over 20 people have this item in their cart. So with Etsy, there's no report that shows all of the sales, but you can see clues sprinkled throughout Etsy that hint as to what the products are that people are actually searching on the internet for. Etsy's a great source of ideas in general. And that leads us to tip number 2, which is ERank. ERank.com. ERank used to be called Etsy Rank. Now I've used this site quite a bit, and it's a free site. And now I sold on Etsy for a while, for about a year, and I actually made it at one point into the top 5% of all sellers according to ERank, and that was pretty cool. Now I don't mean that to brag. I'm just saying I'm pretty proud of myself because I worked really hard for about a year and built a pretty successful store. Now I've got issues with Etsy in general, and I'll probably post that in another video. So I'll throw away my life story there at some point to you guys. But anyway, ERank is actually a pretty useful website. So let's take a closer look. On the right side, you can see the day's most popular stores. So if you're looking for inspiration, the top store, Sweet Late Printed, sold over 4,000 products in one day. So ERank is actually pretty accurate. Like I said, I had a shop on there for about a year, and the ranking was pretty accurate, for me at least. A really nice feature on ERank is that you can browse the top sellers on Etsy by category. So I'm going to jump into the clothing section. We'll pursue a t-shirt option here. I'm going to jump into the clothing section. So here we can see in the ERank clothing section the top stores. So there are stores on here with over 100,000 sales. That's pretty awesome. So I'm going to search for that Zoe's Attic shop. Okay, so I know the name of the store, so I jumped back onto Etsy.com. I moved out of ERank, I'm back on Etsy, and now I'm searching for Zoe's Attic. On Etsy.com, we can see that Zoe's Attic is a heavy hitter. They have over 200,000 in sales. They have 211,997 in sales as of the recording on this day, which is almost exactly what ERank said. ERank listed them at 211,923, so about 70 less. So ERank looks to be about a day behind, but anyway, it's close enough for what we need. So on Etsy, I'm now scrolling through the Zoe's Attic store, and I'm seeing shirts that have something in the cart. So it's 8 people have this in their basket and 3 people have this in their basket. Again, you would use this to come up with ideas that sell. So you're either looking for products or you're looking for stores that are successful. Now you would not want to just blatantly rip off their design, of course not. But you can at least see the genre that people in general are looking for. And you can also see the quality of the design that's enticing people to want to purchase the shirt or at least consider purchasing the shirt. All right, I flipped back to ERank, and I want to show you another feature. ERank is really good for keyword ideas, also known as tags. Now, these are the words that people use to search for shirts and other products on the internet. So on ERank, the keyword search bar is located up on the top right. So I typed in Freddie Mercury as my search term. Now ERank is going to show me how many people are searching on Etsy over the past month for Freddie Mercury. Now, for those who may not know, Freddie Mercury was the lead singer of a very popular rock band called Queen. I want to shout Deo. Anyway, I guess I just did. So, but we can see that there are 5,717 searches last month for Freddie. Okay, so ERank also lists the competition and also the engagement. Now, these scores don't really mean a whole lot until we start typing in multiple search terms and comparing them to each other. So here's another search term, funny shirt, for example. Now we can see that it's a popular term. There's over 50,000 listings on Etsy. So one strategy is to find a niche that has a high number of Etsy searches, but a low number of Etsy competition. And ideally also a high Etsy engagement. So it's high searches, low competition, high engagement. By the way, I want to point out this doesn't mean that because you're using ERank that you have to list on Etsy. But you could list on Etsy. But you could also list on Redbubble, Teepublic, Teespring. You could list on your own store if you have a Shopify account. So it means that people in general are looking around on the internet for that type of product. Now I want to point out that ERank is not perfect. So here's an example where I searched for the term coffee dog shirt. And for Etsy searches, there's no data available. So like any resource, it's not perfect. These are hints, and you have to do some digging around to find the useful info. Now there's another nice feature on ERank, and it's the Get Keyword Ideas search bar up at the top. Now I've searched in the past for things like funny shirt, funny cat shirt, funny dog shirt. So I'm going to type in funny dog shirt and hit search. And what we get back is this type of word pastiche design. and the most popular tags are the largest. So this can be helpful if you aren't sure what to tag your work, or if you suspect that something is popular and you'd like to explore it in a little more detail. So again, just another little tool on this pretty cool free site. Oh, and one last note here. I really like how you can actually download the results as well. So there's an Excel, CSV, PDF option, and you can even print it off too. It's a pretty cool feature. Tip number 3 is Google, which is of course the world's most popular search engine. All right, the first tip is pretty simple, but it's sometimes overlooked. So I'm on google.com and I type in funny t-shirts for women. So here's the first tip. Turn on your autocomplete feature in Google, and Google will make suggestions as you type. These suggestions are based on what the human race overall is searching for. So Google is kind of like a robot who's trying to help you. And it's pretty smart sometimes. So type in half of the phrase and then see what pops up. It might give you some ideas for shirts or some other products. All right, so I typed in funny t-shirts for women. Now you may notice some sponsored results that pop up. And I guess we're kind of conditioned to ignore these sponsored results because they're paid sponsor ads, so we don't really think of them as like legitimate. But here's a tip. Take some time and actually look at them. See what the company itself is advertising, because many companies will advertise their most popular t-shirts. They know that they're starting to sell a little bit, so they'll invest a little bit of money and they'll boost the ad and try to sell some more. Not always, but sometimes. So if you see a sponsored ad, it can be a good hint as to what's a big seller for an individual t-shirt company. Another option on Google is the shopping feature. So I typed in funny t-shirts for women and then I clicked the shopping filter. Now whatever comes up first on Google is typically the most relevant result. And it's relevant because people in general are clicking on that result. So Google ranks things based on usefulness. So here we can see that the most useful result, it's these simple cat designs. And again, I want to stress, I'm not suggesting that you just copy the design, that you just steal stuff. That's not what I'm suggesting. What I'm saying is, by seeing these designs, it gives us a hint as to what people in general are interested in purchasing, because it's the most relevant result. So you could come up with a similar cute design of an animal with a little slogan, and you would at least be in the game. You at least have a chance to sell something. One quick side note, let's take a quick look at these two shirts that popped up. The first one is a cat on its back, and the second one is the cat on his stomach. Now take a close look at them. It's essentially the same picture. So if you were creating something like this, you could just flip the head around or digitally manipulate the picture a little bit. Just flipping the head gives you two different ideas. So it's a good idea. If you have a design, consider tweaking it a tiny bit and creating little variations. And by doing this, one design could be 2, 3, or even 12 similar designs with a bit of tweaking. All right, let's do another search here. I'm on Google and I typed in 4th of July t-shirts, which of course 4th of July is a big holiday in the United States. So I clicked on the shopping filter. And there's what I want right there with the arrow pointing at it. It's an Etsy shirt with the British flag and a funny quote, a funny saying. That's a great design. It's great because it's a royalty-free image, which is just a flag, so anybody can use it, and it's a funny slogan. So if you're a creative person, and if you consider yourself kind of funny or witty, this is a great niche to jump into. Notice in the search bar, I did not type in funny 4th of July. So this shirt is what Google thinks is the most relevant shirt for 4th of July shopping. Chances are very good that someone has purchased this shirt and perhaps even purchased it enough that it made its way to the first page of Google rankings. Okay, now ultimately we want to sell shirts on Redbubble and Teepublic and these print-on-demand sites. So tip number 4 is the Redbubble website itself. If you've done any looking around on Redbubble, of course you know this. Redbubble is huge. There are thousands and thousands of products on there. So if you're going to list a product on Redbubble, it can be a struggle to even ever get seen. But regardless of searching and tags and search engine optimization and all of that, you need a great design first. And here's where we can find what customers are actually looking for. So I'm hovering over the Redbubble clothing section. And I'm going to click on the t-shirt section. Now inside the t-shirt section, you can browse by theme. So I'm going to browse the music shirts, for example. I can click on See All Music Shirts. Now here's the key. I want to make sure that I'm searching on the most relevant selected. So I want to flip that little toggle so it says most relevant. What does Redbubble consider to be the most relevant? Now, we don't know exactly how Redbubble's algorithms work, but it's probably a combination of what has sold and what people are clicking on. Remember, Redbubble wants you to buy a shirt. They want you to buy any shirt. So they put the best, quote unquote, best shirts at the top. So chances are very good that the stuff on the first page of any search result is the stuff that's actually selling or has sold. Now, I can say this from experience. I created a shirt that had 90 other shirts in the niche, and when I first listed it, the shirt was dead last out of 90. But then I sold about 3 of them, and now my shirt is listed on row 3 of that niche of 90. So it's moved up in the rankings over time, and it must be because people are clicking on it and ultimately buying it. Tip number 5, Amazon. Amazon is one of the largest companies in the world, definitely one of the largest retailers in the universe. So if you go to Amazon and you type in a type of shirt, you're going to get some pretty cool results. So here I am typing in dog coffee shirt, for example. Okay, and these are the results that popped up. Now you may be detecting a trend by now. If you get back the most relevant results according to Amazon, what do these mean? Well, remember, Amazon wants to sell you a shirt. They want to sell you any shirt. So they will stick the best sellers right at the top. So if you click on a shirt, you'll get some information about that product. So scroll down, way down. Near the bottom of the listing, look for the ranking. So here we can see that this particular shirt is ranked 7,749 in the category Women's Novelty T-shirts. Now, if I click that link, Women's Novelty T-shirts, it will take me to the list of all the Women's Novelty T-shirts. Okay, so I clicked on the link and now I'm at the Amazon best sellers for Women's Novelty T-shirts. Now, typically the best sellers in a lot of these categories will feature regular clothes, and what I mean by regular is that they don't have any slogans or pictures on them, so they're not really stuff that we're going to be competing with. You know, a lot of the best sellers are things like white socks and white t-shirts. Well, we're not going to compete with that. So scroll through these best sellers and look for something that's funny or something that has a design or a picture. Basically something that you could design and compete with. So here we go. Number 6 on the bestseller list is a Be Kind shirt, and number 21 on the list is a peachy retro style t-shirt. So again, I'm not saying to just rip off these shirts and copy them completely, but it gives us an idea on what's actually selling. It gives us an idea of colors, fonts, overall designs. If you can create a better version, a unique version, a version with a twist, that's the real challenge. Ask yourself, why is this shirt a bestseller? And then make a better one. So I'm scrolling through the list of women's novelty t-shirts. Number 28 is a slogan that says, "Nope, not today." Number 29 is, "Bring on the sunshine." Number 30 is a shirt with a big wall of text. So these are all ideas for us to use. Again, there's no one-stop shop for all the best ideas. It's a detective game. So I encourage you to take some time and do some market research. And as always, check the copyrights and the trademarks on these designs. You don't want to just steal somebody's design. Look for something, figure out how to make it your own, come up with a better, unique design, and someday you will be in the game making sales. I really hope you found this video helpful. I love connecting with fellow passive income aficionados like myself. I don't know what to call us, but people who really love passive income and learning about this sort of thing. So leave a comment if you like, or if you found a tip that I may have missed, feel free to leave that too. It's great if we all learn from each other. So consider subscribing to my channel so you never miss a video. Thank you so much for watching.